Heyo, welcome to another episode of UHS Presents. Today we're doing Critical Affection, and I am joined by my co-host Julie. Hello, Julie.
Hello.
And our number one fan, Astian, is on their Twitch saying hello. And thank you for putting the word hello there because I still can't see those tiny little thingies, the little emoticons. Like I bet they're super cute too. I gotta actually go to Twitch and look at them. So let me get my little finger over here. So yes, thank you for joining us. We are affectionately criticizing Frozen, or actually not so affectionately criticizing Frozen, because I think I can safely speak for the both of us when I say this is not a movie that either of us particularly love.
No, I hate this fucking movie.
Tell me how you really feel. So, Katie's here too. Hey, Katie.
Hi, Katie.
And so, let me get to my notes here. Okay, before we hit the bitching, let's hit the UHS news review. Hot Brass Pharaoh's Gold has gone to print, so we will have those smexy things in our hands pretty damn soon. Although I have to warn you that the printer is super crazy busy, and it won't be as fast as it has been in the past. But if you remember the delays that you had on Elsewhere Volume 2, it won't be that bad. So, like, somewhere in between, I guess. But anyway, it's at the printers now, so it's coming. It's trucking along. You're going to get your stuff soon. Speaking of getting your stuff soon, The Surgeon, Chapter 4, is being lettered. And when that is done, so we can see the finish line. Like on this, it just needs to be lettered, and then it's going to go to print too. Or also. And Unthinkables. Issue 2 had another big had a big update from the penciler Ian Richardson. Y'all know who he is. He's amazing at his job. He was having some family stuff, so but now I think he's back on it 100%. So head over to the Facebook page. That's at Unlikely Hero Studios. You know, facebook.com / Unlikely Hero Studios, and go check that update out so you can see. And he actually he shared some pictures with us too, so you can see what's going on there. And we also have a Facebook group. Since we're on the Facebook train here, we have a Facebook group called Unlikely Hero Studios Presents Awesome Comics and Other Cool Shit too. So go join that to stay on top of our UHS news, see our work from other indie studios, and participate in some discussions on comics and pop culture, including polls about what movies we should crap on this show next. Let's see. I don't think that we've mentioned this on our live stream before, which is just insane. But we have merch. Specifically, we have a TeePublic store, which I am going to. You can get shirts, magnets, stickers, and other stuff that is emblazoned with our logos, characters, and even our faces. And you can go to that link right there on that cool little ticker to find all that crap. And, do that after the show. Don't do that right now. Stay here and listen to us, bitch. And then go do that after. One more piece of news. Our good friend Mike Watson over at Freestyle Comics has a live stream too, which you may or may not have known. It's called Chat and Draw. And you should absolutely watch it. I believe he streams. Actually, he's got kind of a weird schedule right now, but he streams all the time. If you just go to Twitch, he's on Twitch at Most Epic Art. That's his all of his social media is at Most Epic Art. So just go there, follow him, and then you'll be alerted whenever he goes live. But the reason that I'm mentioning him specifically today is because he is taking commissions from fans of the show. So if you want a commission from him, and he's an amazing artist, so you definitely do want a commission from him, go to his whatever your favorite social media is, find him at Most Epic Art, and send him a message and ask him if he still has some slots left, because I'm really not sure if he does, but I thought it was a cool enough thing that we should mention it here. So I believe that is all of our news. So now that we have that out of the way, let's get to this. If you missed the last episode, it is available to watch on your preferred streaming platform. And by that, I mean YouTube, Twitch, Facebook. And Twitch has a weird thing where it only stays for like 2 weeks and then it's gone. So if you wanted to watch like the first episode that we did of Critical Affection, you're going to have to go to YouTube or Facebook. Bummer, I know. Sorry. And I actually on Facebook or YouTube, I should go. They have that where you can arrange your videos into playlists. And I think I need to make a critical affection playlist because we are doing a lot of these now. So good idea. I literally just thought of that now. That is not in my notes. So go me. Alrighty, let's see here. I just lost my notes. There they are again. We're good. Okay, so it should go without saying, but if you have not seen Frozen and you're hanging out with us tonight, then I must warn you. I might never get sick of that. That just tickles me every time. It was such a piece of crap video to make too. Like it was a little 30-second thing I did. Spent no time on, but it amuses the shit out of me. Anyway, we've got that spoiler alert out of the way. So let's get to this information on Frozen. Frozen premiered November 19th, 2013, and it has a critical rating on Rotten Tomatoes. It has a 90% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, the critical rating, and an 85% audience score, which, what the fuck, dude? Right? Like, what the fuck? 90%? Come on. The Rotten Tomatoes critic consensus, usually I don't read these, but I have to for this one. It says, beautifully animated, smartly written, and stocked with sing-along songs, Frozen adds another worthy entry into the Disney canon. I will agree, it is beautifully animated, and I will agree that most of the songs are fun, but this movie is not smartly written at fucking all. It is not.
Plot holes, like, aplenty in this one.
And like, you can tell that it suffers from, rewrite syndrome.
Yeah.
Where, you know, several different people had their hands on this shit, and probably some big fat cat at the top of the chain, the food chain there, was like, no, dude, I don't like that this happened, and I want you to go back and fix it. And so they, like, chopped shit up and went back and fixed it. And we're going to get into all that. But let's see. Oh, I wanted to point out that the wiki fandom page for Frozen actually says that it's underwent several rewrites before it was picked up, which is, like I said, rarely a good thing when it comes to these big studio movies.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. I have like way too this. I wrote this synopsis and like it's still too fucking long, so I'm gonna try and skip through. We're gonna do this, okay? Bear with me here. Wait, before I do that, let me check my comments. Astian said, probably had Frozen spoiled by the memes at this point. Hell's to the yeah. That's why I don't need to watch Game of Thrones.
True.
8 years old. Wow. Yeah, it is 8 years old. And that's what, like, my niece, she's like one of the only people that would disagree with me that this is a bad movie. Like, she thinks it's an amazing movie. Actually, both my nieces do. But she was like 3 when it came out. So,
yeah.
Katie says, after it premiered, almost all parents of young girls immediately saw it so often that they hated it because of that song. Let it go. Let it go. But then Elsa won't let it go. Like, she sings that fucking song and she doesn't let it go. So, fuck that song, man. All right. Synopsis. I'm going to do the best I can here. And you know I'm going to fuck up a lot. So, bear with me, children. Princess Elsa of Arendelle was born with the power to create and manipulate ice and snow. One night, she accidentally hits her sister Anna with magic while they were playing in the throne room of the castle. The parents take the girls to see a village of trolls living near them and are followed by young Kristoff and his baby reindeer Sven. And one of the trolls decides to adopt Kristoff and Sven. The troll leader, Pobby, tells the king, queen, and Princess Elsa that it is lucky the magic hit Anna's head and not her heart. Pobby removes Anna's memories of Elsa's magic and scares the shit out of her by telling her that she could kill somebody if she doesn't learn to control the power. In a splendid display of terrible parenting, the king and queen separate Anna and Elsa, and close up the palace to everyone but a few servants and continue to be negative and stern to Elsa while attempting to get her to control her power. Anna is left friendless and alone and confused why her sister won't play with her, and Elsa is just a tightly wound ball of anxiety as her powers grow and she fails completely to control them. 10 years pass, the king and the queen go on a trip and they die when the storm sinks the ship that they're on. 3 more years pass, and of course, Anna is still weird and friendless, and Elsa has zero control over her magical abilities. But now she's 18, and she's expected to be crowned queen. I have an itch. I think that hair went up my nose. Don't worry, I'm just picking my nose online, like on live stream for looks like 3 viewers currently. Let's see. Anna is excited for the coronation because the castle doors will be open for a day. And as she is naive and inexperienced, Anna is excited and thinks she's going to meet her one true love. Elsa is crowned queen without magical incident, and she and Anna actually talk for the first time in over a decade. Anna also meets and becomes infatuated with Prince Hans of the Southern Isles, Duke Wesselton, who makes sinister comments before the ball, tries to get in and dance with the queen and the princess, and clearly presents himself as the antagonist. Hans proposes to Anna at the ball, and Anna runs to Elsa to get her blessing. Elsa, of course, refuses because it's insane to marry someone that you've known for a few hours. And Anna gets mad and argues with her and grabs Elsa's glove, which agitates Elsa, and Elsa lets her magic slip and creates a big old wall of ice spikes that scare the shit out of the guests and Anna, because remember, Anna forgot. They took her memories away of that shit. So Elsa freaks out and flees into the mountains, unknowingly freezing the entire fucking country as she runs away. Anna believes the entire thing is her fault, so she goes after Elsa alone and leaves Hans, the guy she just met, in charge of the whole fucking country. Anna loses her horse, but she finds a trading post in the woods where she meets Kristoff and strikes a deal with him to lead her to Elsa, as he seems to know the way where the magical ice is coming from and thus where Elsa is. Along the way, Anna, Kristoff, and Sven are attacked by wolves but survive. They meet a snowman named Olaf, who's fucking annoying, and he came to life via Elsa's powers. Olaf leads them to the ice palace that Elsa built, and Anna tells Elsa that she had frozen the whole country and tries to talk her back into going back to Arendelle and unfreezing everything, but Elsa becomes agitated again. Excuse me. And this time she shoots off her magic and strikes Anna in, you guessed it, her heart. Elsa conjures a snow monster to chase the group away. Kristoff sees that Anna is badly hurt and takes her to his troll family, his adoptive troll family. As they travel, Anna and Kristoff warm up to each other, and when they arrive, the trolls sing a weird-ass number about Anna fixing up Kristoff, and then the trolls try to fucking marry those two. But Anna has another weak spell where she passes out, and Poppy, the elder troll, tells them that Anna's heart is frozen and she needs to have an act of true love to thaw it, which makes both her and Kristoff assume that she needs to kiss Hans, and no one in that supposedly wise troll village contradicts them. While Anna and Kristoff are visiting the trolls, Hans witnesses Anna's horse return without her and puts together a search party to go find the princess and the queen. Duke Wesselton sends his 2 henchmen to the search party and secretly instructs them to kill Queen Elsa if they find her. Hans finds Elsa's ice palace, battles and defeats the snow monster, thwarts Wesselton's guards on the attempt on Elsa's life, and stops Elsa from murdering the guards. He then captures Elsa and takes her back to the dungeon at Arendelle. After visiting the trolls and deciding that they need to go back to Hans, Kristoff and Sven rush Anna back to the palace, and they leave her with the guards at the front gate. Kristoff then turns away and walks away sadly because he's got feelings for Anna now, and he leaves the palace. Anna is taken to Hans and tells him that she needs him to kiss her, and Hans suddenly turns heel and says he was tricking her all along, and actually he wants her to die because then he can be the king of Arendelle, and that'll be his own kingdom because he's the brother of 12. He's got 12 other brothers, and he was never going to be king in his own country. All right, so let's see. He locks Anna in a room alone and then tells the other officials that Anna's dead and Elsa killed her. He also lies and says he married Anna just before she died and now is king of Arendelle. He charges Elsa with treason and sentences her to death, but Elsa already managed to break through those weird shackle glove thingies and escape the palace before the guards arrive for her. We're almost there, guys. Olaf had been separated from Kristoff and Anna on the way back to the palace, and he arrives to the palace alone and finds Anna by herself in that room, and she's dying. He starts a fire for her, and he declares he will not leave her alone while she is sick, even if it means that he melts and dies himself. He chats with her while they stay there together and points out that Kristoff cares for her, or he would not have done the things that he did to save her. Anna's surprised and realizes that she has feelings for him too, because of course she does. Olaf looks out the window of the room and sees Kristoff and Sven running back to the palace, and also that there's a huge blizzard forming directly over the palace. Believing now that kissing Kristoff is going to save her, Anna and Olaf slip away into the blizzard to find him. In the meantime, Elsa, whose stress has caused the storm, is found by Hans, who then tells her that Anna is dead because of her, and Anna collapses in grief, which also freezes the storm into complete silence. While she's there crying, Hans raises his sword to kill Elsa, and as he is about, Anna has seen Kristoff and she's on her way to him, but as she is walking to him, she sees Hans about to kill Elsa and instead leaps between them and freezes solid just as the sword comes down, which shatters the blade and blasts Hans away from the sisters. Elsa sees Anna's frozen form and she hugs it, sobbing because her sister is frozen. And apparently, Anna's sacrifice and Elsa's grief were the acts of love needed to thaw Anna's heart, and Anna revives. She repeats Pobby the troll's claim that love can thaw a frozen heart, which makes Elsa go, duh, and then she uses their love of the kingdom to thaw the kingdom. As they are standing in the Bay of Arendelle, they are raised up on the deck of one of the ships as the whole bay unfreezes, and they are all somehow magically on this fucking boat together, and nobody fell or anything. As they are standing in the bay, I already read that. She gives Elsa gives Olaf his own personal storm so that he doesn't melt. And Hans is somehow on the same boat, and Anna punches him, and he falls over the side of the deck. And Anna and Elsa hug, and Kristoff is there, and they hug too, and everybody is all happy now. Hans is thrown onto a different boat, and he is escorted home to face the consequences of his evil actions. The Duke of Wesselton is told that the Queen will no longer trade with Wesselton. Arendelle will not trade with the country of Wesselton anymore, and that he is not welcome there anymore, and they say get the fuck out. And Kristoff is given a brand new sled by Anna and Elsa, and he's awarded the title of official Arendelle Ice Master and Deliverer. Kristoff is super happy. He and Anna hug, and they kiss for the first time, apparently. Olaf is shown to be enjoying summer with Sven, the reindeer that wanted to eat his face. And Elsa makes an ice skating rink for the townspeople to play, and she and Anna declare how happy they are that the castle gates are open for good. And then credits roll, and then there's a post-credit scene where the snow monster, which I believe Olaf named Marshmallow, is wandering the ice palace alone, and he finds her original tiara and he puts it on, and it makes him happy, and his ice spikes fade away, and then he smiles, and the end. I don't particularly care for those synopses. It doesn't matter how much I try to make them short, they are never short enough. I always feel like if I don't put all that shit in, I will miss something, some important detail. I don't know.
Nah, not with this movie. Who cares?
Yeah, it is a bullshit movie. So, all right, let's start shitting on it. What's your first note?
Well, first of all, my biggest issue with this is in 2012, there was this little Disney movie called Brave. And because I'm assuming, this is my theory, there were no sing-along songs, there was no stupid sidekick, there was no, it wasn't the usual fluff kind of more Disney princess kind of Disney movie. This movie just got swept under the rug, even though, in my opinion, it's almost the same message that Frozen has.
Absolutely, you're good. That is a good goddamn point. Damn.
Brave was one of my, I thought that film was so brilliant, so well written, so different, and it pisses me off to this day that nobody remembers that movie, and Frozen gets all the glory for being she didn't fall in love with a prince. Well, no,
There
you know,
wasn't even a man in there. Brave is such a better movie. It's
it's
such a
it's a better movie for, like, a young woman to watch. If I had a little girl, I'd want her to watch that, you know? You don't have to get married at all. Find out who you are first, get to know yourself, discover what you wanna do, and, whatever. Female independence, man, you know?
yeah,
And
yeah, for sure.
because really in the end of it, Frozen still has this backwards message, I think, of, uh I mean, Else or Anna, yeah, the message is don't, go for love isn't like the only thing there is to life. Don't fall for the first person you fall in love.
Love is an open door.
But then at the same time, she goes up and ends up marrying this guy that she only knew for like a couple of days. So it's very hypocritical. And I mean, again,
Miriam at the beginning. She doesn't marry him at the end of the movie, but like they're obviously together and they're true loves and all that
they're
bullshit.
like, yeah. So I'm like, okay, well, what was the fucking point of that? And you could argue that, true love is found in other places. It's not just, the person you marry, it's within your family, it's with friends. And I do agree with that. And I think that message does come through a little bit. But again, um, it just pisses
You
me
know
off.
what? You know what other movie came before Frozen? Fucking Tangled.
Yeah, a lot of people don't
Yes,
talk
she did have a love interest in that movie, but also it was about finding out who you are again, and
about.
way better. The story was written so much better.
Yeah,
Brave was better. Tangled was better. There, fucking Twilight was a better written movie than this bullshit.
I wouldn't go that far, but
I mean, I gotta say, as somebody who's seen all these movies, I have to say I would not put Frozen at the. I mean, I would put Frozen at the bottom of that list of four there for best written screenplay. Like, I mean, it's not that the story itself or like the movie in complete was better, but because like the acting in this movie is definitely better, like the voice acting better than the acting in Twilight. But like at least Twilight had a sort of understandable script. Like, who even is the fucking bad guy in Frozen? Like, that's a big thing for me. Is like for the first 3/4 of the movie, the bad guy is the Duke of Wesselton, and then suddenly, boom, Hans is the bad guy. What the fuck?
yeah, yeah.
My very first note about this movie: 1 minute and 35 seconds of opening logo bullshit. Why? And two different Disney ones, like the one with the castle and the Walt Disney Pictures, and then the one with Steamboat Mickey. Like, we
Well,
don't need them both. We know that we fucking know it's a Disney movie. We don't need that. We don't need it.
well, that's a whole nother discussion. Disney is basically.
Bastian says, the cinema sins critique. I have seen some of those, and yeah, they do. He gets mad about those, doesn't he? Yeah, because why? Why is there so many opening logos? We know, we fucking know. Katie says Brave is so much better than Frozen. I loved how in Brave she was allowed to just be kind of tomboyish, and not all that interested in boys at all yet. And it makes clear that she's not ready. Yeah. And
Yeah.
she never said she didn't want to ever get married. She just didn't want to be forced to do it. Which is, like, obviously that's not the same thing that's going on in Frozen, but it's the same idea well, I mean, Elsa was the one who was smart about the whole marrying thing, because she's like, you can't marry a dude that you met 5 minutes ago.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, like it doesn't even have a love interest. Like they have that competition where she's supposed to have the winner's supposed to win the marriage with her, but that's stupid. First of all, that's a terrible way to pick the king of your country. It's like, who can shoot an arrow through the center of this target? Like, that is a terrible way to, and that's one of the few criticisms I would have about Brave. But like, yeah, I mean, Frozen doesn't really even get into that, because they're just like, oh, Elsa's gonna be the queen. And I will give them that that's a feminist forward, like that nobody's saying you can't be the ruler because you're a woman. That was never even questioned. Like, she was definitely going to be the queen. She just had to be 18 first. So
Yeah.
at least there was that.
Yeah.
So
You're they're skipping a step because yeah, like Katie pointed out, she's not ready. And I feel like that movie was just such a good stepping stone for a lot of little girls. Like, you have to find
mhm.
yourself first before you discover who you want to be with, or what I mean, gender identity you are. I mean, it's, you have to figure out who you are before you can move on with your life. And um it's like RuPaul says, how the hell are you going to love anybody else if you don't love yourself, like, it's just such a good message in that movie of yeah, I don't have to be this, especially
But that,
for
yeah.
me. Like, I was always a tomboy too, I
Mhm.
wasn't interested in really playing dolls or whatever, and I was out like shooting arrows and shit and collecting axes. So
Yeah.
that
And
movie
like
spoke to me a lot.
it's great that yeah, Katie just was saying what I was like. Katie and I are on the same page today. Like, she's setting her own boundaries.
Yeah.
And what else was I gonna say? Oh, is that you don't, you said that how can others love you if you don't love yourself? And I would say in response to that is that you don't need anyone to love you to be complete. Like,
True.
you can be a complete person without finding a life partner, if you're, gay, straight, pan, whatever. Like, you don't need to find your life partner in order to be complete. And your life partner can be your best friend. It doesn't have to be somebody that you're romantic with.
Hmm.
Like, there's, I mean, how many really cool historical stories are there about, well, like there's the ones of the guys that lived together, the women that lived together, and they were like, it was clearly they were lesbians. But like, there's also the ones that are fine. They were always really productive and very fruitful and seemed very happy without actually being married or anything. Like, that's
Yeah.
not a requirement.
Yeah.
And Anna clearly feels like it is a requirement, whereas Elsa's like, she's so fucking wound so tight that, if she ate enough meat, she could probably shit out springs. I mean, damn.
And I liked what she looked like too. Uh, Merida in Brave, because she wasn't this like hourglass, figure. She wasn't, all dolled up. Whereas
Mm-hmm.
you're still, it's just, again, I always felt that was hypocritical. Um, just in Disney movies alone, is you're trying to portray this message of strong women, but at the same time, you wouldn't be like, Cinderella wouldn't be caught dead, without her fucking like makeup and her, high heels and like, whatever. Like, it's just this very weird, hypocritical.
And
It's sending a mixed message to a lot of little girls, I think.
yeah, and also on that same note, that Prince Charming wouldn't love Cinderella if she wasn't all dolled up. So it's
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Cinderella absolutely needs to be pretty because she can't love herself, and the prince can't love her if she's not pretty. Like, screw that.
Yeah,
Hell.
exactly. Yeah. I mean, I had a problem with the dolls that came out of Brave too, because there was a doll in particular where
Yes.
it felt like she had like more of a bust too, and like she was like all sexified and whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
it was just, I'm like, what is going on? Like, you just totally destroyed the whole message of that movie you just made.
Yeah,
But
that
that's
was,
Disney,
yeah.
they don't care. They want to sell the toys. So
Yeah. Disney is I guess very slowly going in the right direction, but it's kind of a two steps forward, one step back kind of thing, because like the movie Brave was amazing, but then yeah, they fucked it up with the toys.
yeah, I mean, they just I don't know what I would call like surface cleaning. I mean, they put forth this image that they want you to see, but in the background, I mean, they haven't changed. I really don't think they have.
Mm. No, and there's too many. Once again, there's too many old white dudes at the top. That's what we should just change the name of this show to, like, old white dudes fucking shit up. Oh no. Yeah. Moving on. X Jock 8098 said, "I love that Merida actively fought against the Disney dress code." Yes. She had, and like when she had that one restrictive dress on, she's like, "Fuck this shit," like, and hulked out of there. Yeah.
So
Um.
anyway, what
Yeah.
else do you have?
There's a couple of songs in this movie that are kind of bullshit. Like, obviously, if I had not heard "Let It Go" 850,000 million billion trillion times, I probably would like that song, but I hate that song just because I'm so fucking sick of it.
I
At,
agree. I agree.
at the beginning, the Icemen song,
Mm-hmm.
completely unnecessary. It was there kind of maybe to see to introduce little like toddler Kristoff and little baby Sven the reindeer, but it was like completely pointless otherwise. And also like if Kristoff was adopted by the trolls, then the Iceman didn't matter. And like it doesn't matter that Kristoff was an Iceman for his like when he grew up. It doesn't matter that he was an Iceman anymore because like that what he does is doesn't matter. It's a very small part of the plot. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. He didn't have to have a job at all. And the other song was Olaf sings that song about summer. That was completely a time filler. Like they just wanted this movie to be a certain number of minutes long and to have a certain number of songs, so they put that song in there. It did not need to be there. Yeah, sure, it was a cute song. Argue me that, but it didn't need to be there. It did not, like in a musical, a song should it should either allude to or further the plot in some way, and this one does neither. And same with the Iceman song. Like they're very pretty songs. They're nice songs to listen to, but they're not good songs. They're not good for the movie. They do nothing for the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a big thing for me too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and by the way, Kristoff is like fucking around in that Iceman area, and they're cutting big ass holes into this super icy lake, and he's a little boy fucking around there. That's not safe. That is bad. Like, I mean, clearly nobody cared about this kid because that is not a place that you should be putting a child that age who didn't know anything about anything. Like he was what, maybe 6 at that time?
Yeah, right.
Why the hell was he there? So, Anna and Elsa, when they're playing at the beginning of the movie, the fuck are all the servants? There's no servants. There's nobody cleaning. There's no guards. Where are everybody? Like we see more servants after the parents say that they're going to get rid of servants than we do before that. Like, where is everybody? There's not even a fucking guard. And a guard would have told them to not dick around in the throne room, right? And then the whole movie never would have happened because
that's quite possible.
So
I just don't get what was the point of erasing Anna's memory of Elsa's powers when you're just gonna lock Elsa away anyway? Like it just didn't. There's no point to it.
Yeah, and it made Anna completely psychologically damaged because like my sister hates me now, but we used to be best friends, and now I don't know why. I have no idea.
I have that. That's a big part of what I have written too.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
At the end of this movie, how the hell is Elsa supposed to rule over a kingdom, a society, when she has no social skills? She has this poor girl's going to be in therapy for the rest of her life, and you expect her to maintain a kingdom? And like, I mean, what's going to happen?
All those that montage of her failing to control her powers between when she hurts Anna and when she is coronated when she's crowned, like that day, all that montage there, like there is she's just a complete, like she's so fucking anxious. Like I don't know how her heart didn't explode. She was so anxious the whole time. Like, how is anybody that is so anxious that they can't even, like, when's the last time this girl pooped? I mean, she can't rule a country. She can't do anything. She's not like Anna should be like Anna's super immature, and I'm pretty sure she has ADHD or something.
Probably.
Because
Yeah.
like you see the way she's bouncing around, she fucking talks to paintings and statues and shit, and yeah, like but still, she is slightly more well adjusted than Anna or than Elsa, and she probably should be the one who's getting crowned, not Elsa. But Elsa's the oldest, blah blah blah.
I don't know.
What?
They're both fucked up for different reasons.
Yeah. Let's, the stuff about you said that removing Anna's memories. They
Hmm.
take away the memories, leave the fun, which makes it look like Elsa, if Elsa and Anna actually had talked at all through that 13-ish years that they were separated,
Hmm.
then Anna would have thought Elsa was insane because Elsa would have been like, yeah, my powers. And Anna would have been like, what?
What are you talking about? Yeah,
Yeah.
that was odd because yeah,
Stupid. Yeah.
she they erase her memories, but then she remembers Olaf, and then yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then when they take Anna to the trolls so that the trolls can help fix her. And the Pobby, the head troll, he's like, Elsa, if you don't get control of this, you're gonna fucking kill somebody. Like he is scaring the shit out of this little girl who's what, 7 or 8 years old
Yeah,
at the time. Like, she's a little girl, you cannot tell her that she's gonna kill somebody. And he also says, oh, he says that, which is bad. And then the parents are like, we're gonna lock up the palace, we're gonna get rid of all the staff, we're gonna keep these two kids separated so that this like, so that that Elsa can't hurt anybody, and we're gonna work with her. And all they do is yell at her. It's like, you were raising this girl to fucking fail. Like, this was never not gonna happen. Like, you should have sent her to like train with the trolls, or built her, like had her build her ice palace, her ice arena, whatever, to go fuck around with their powers and get figure them out. Yes, Ascian, Hogwarts. Thank you. Go to Hogwarts. Go to fucking Professor Xavier. Something, anything would have been better than what they did. Like, they literally did the worst possible choice of all the choices that they could have made to help Elsa learn to master her power.
yeah. Well, it wouldn't be a Disney movie without some, childhood
Terrible
abuse.
parenting.
So, but I agree though. Why didn't they just leave her with the trolls? That makes so much sense.
Yeah, the trolls obviously had the understanding of magic. They adopted Kristoff and Sven, so clearly they had no problem raising human children. Like, they didn't have to relinquish Elsa to the trolls, but just like, she goes to them for 2 straight weeks, and then she comes back for a week, and then she goes back for 2 more weeks until the trolls are like, yeah, she's got this figured out. And I mean, just imagine the trauma that is. Not only is Elsa locked up, but she's alone. She has no friends, not even her sister, and the only people she ever sees are her parents, who are being very negative with her. She was never gonna succeed. This was never gonna go well. This is never gonna go well. And then they just fucking die on her ass. Like, why? Like, you can't do that to somebody and then just leave for a month. And just like, everything's gonna be fine, we'll be back soon. And then, because shit like that does happen. Yeah. So yeah. And I have been hearing all capital letters like, Jesus Christ, these are bad parents.
Yeah, exactly.
And okay, so I realized that the sequel has happened and we get some more insight on these ice powers, which gives me I have such a worse opinion of Elsa and Anna's parents after seeing Frozen 2 and knowing the history of the ice powers.
Oh, see, I
didn't
see the sequel.
Okay, well, yeah, that you get some insight, because like, we're like, where the fuck did the powers come from? How come nobody else was born with powers? But you get some insight on that with Frozen 2. It's also a pretty bad movie, but I think it's not as bad as Frozen 1. But without having seen that, because that movie was not written, it was not in development, there was not yet any plans for Frozen 2 to happen. And so we had no reason to believe that these parents were in any way equipped to teach Elsa to fucking control and master magical fucking powers. Like, what the hell? There was no reason for them to think that they could do it. Like, we had no reason to believe that they could do that. And
Right.
yet they're like, yeah, we'll take care of it. We'll figure it out. We'll take care of it and it'll be fine. And then they tell her, conceal, don't feel, because that's always a great advice for somebody who's suffering from emotional illness, like anxiety or depression. Like,
Yeah.
Elsa has both and major anxiety. And so let's say, hide it. Don't show anybody. Don't accept help for this.
Like, I know, I don't know, the writers or Disney or whoever was really trying to, in the end, make it a positive message, like, well, fuck that, you got to just be yourself. But the way they did it was not appropriate at all, with especially that line, yeah, conceal, don't feel. That's pretty fucked up. That's like, I think you're hitting a point where you are going way above the heads of the kids that you're trying to teach, and they don't understand what you're saying. You have to dumb it down a little bit and not be that harsh. I just I think they really messed up the tone of the movie at certain parts.
And I mean, anybody who has been a child, who has been around a child, who has any experience at all with the way that a little kid thinks, like you said, that they don't understand that stuff. So she took it as literally as possible. And that meant that was cemented in her head as an adult, even though that was the completely wrong way to handle it. Even as an adult, she had that was like, that's how I have to do this. Like, even when she goes up into her ice palace and she's like, I'm free, finally. And when Anna comes up and upsets her, she paces after Anna leaves, she paces around and she's like, don't feel, conceal, don't feel. It's like, you just said that you were letting it go. Why are you not letting it go anymore?
Because she's fucked up.
She is so fucked up. Let's see. If she wasn't so anxious and nervous all the time, like, I mean, the only two things that she had to touch with her bare hands in 13 years for the coronation were those two artifact thingies, and like, she couldn't even hang on to it in those that like, what, 30 seconds that he was reciting that chant thingy. Like, Astian says the parents were the real villains this whole time. Yes, that's what I'm saying, man. I mean, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, right? Isn't that a saying?
Yeah, right.
That's like, they might have had good intentions, but they screwed the hell up. Like, somebody call CPS on this. Arendelle CPS.
God.
Yeah, and like, but I do have to say though, when she is at the coronation and the priest or whoever he is, first of all, they wouldn't have fucking made her pull those gloves off to do that recitation thing, like, for the coronation. They wouldn't have made her pull the gloves off. Fucking stupid. But they had to, because otherwise nothing would have happened. Like, it was stupid. It was stupid. But the animation of her actually pulling the gloves off, beautiful, smooth, flawless, like butter. Beautiful. That's, like I said, the only really good thing I have to say about this movie. That's like the only genuinely 100% positive thing is, like, this movie is a beautiful movie. It is beautiful.
Yeah.
That's like, the story is complete garbage. It falls apart if you remove any, like, a good story shouldn't fall apart if you remove one small element. But, and I mean, it's like, going back to Tangled, like, Rapunzel was stolen by what's her face, the witch, and she was being, like, obviously emotionally abusive to Rapunzel. So at least that way we were like, we know this person is the bad guy, but like, they didn't even have that in this movie. So you can't even say, oh, if the parents had just been less mean, because they weren't even intentionally, we weren't supposed to believe that the parents were the bad guys.
Yeah, exactly.
And yes, that's just the part where Anna meets Hans, like, it was an adorable little meet cute. She trips, or no, the horse bumps into her and she falls into the boat, and then the horse stops it from falling, and then Hans is there. Yeah, adorable, right?
Right.
Why did they feel the need to make Hans the bad guy? at the like they seriously Hans was nothing. There was zero things to indicate that he was a bad guy until, and I checked this, it was 1 hour and 16 minutes into a 1 hour and 45-minute movie. So for the less than so like yeah, like the last half hour of the movie. So that's 25 to 30 minutes. Yeah. He was the bad guy. And then he was like, and suddenly the Duke of Wesselton wasn't even there at all to be a bad guy.
Right.
Like they should have been able to easily like the Duke was there being the bad guy from the moment he stepped off the boat to go to the coronation. There was no need to have another bad guy. There was no need to make Hans a bad guy. Like he was adorable. They had an adorable little song that they sang together. He was being kind and generous to everybody and everything, and he was doing an excellent job taking care of the castle while Anna was gone. Why did they feel the need to make him a bad guy? He didn't need to be like there was no need for another bad guy because the Duke of Wesselton already tried to kill Elsa, and he could have done it again. I mean, it just and like why the fuck did he save Elsa if he wanted her dead? Why didn't he just let the Duke's guards kill her? The Duke, though, when they're dancing at the ball, the Duke comes up and he's like, "Hey, can I have this dance?" And Elsa's like, "Here, dance with Anna," and shoves her off. Like, first of all, there's no fucking way. She said sorry for sending her off with the Duke, but like, she wasn't fucking sorry. And also, but the Duke says he's an amazing dancer, and he said they call me the Little Dipper, like a chicken with the face of a monkey. Did you catch that? What does that mean? I mean, I get the Little Dipper part because he said they call me the Little Dipper, and then he dipped her in the dance.
Yeah.
He dipped Anna. Yeah. Like, what the fuck does a chicken with the face of a monkey mean?
I forgot to write that down because when I was watching it, I was like, what the fuck is that? I forgot to write it down. You just reminded me.
Yeah, that might be my favorite quote in the movie. It was like, a chicken with the face of a monkey.
Oh, you reminded me when you were talking about the songs.
Yeah.
There's the one that's called, I think, Fixer Upper.
Mm-hmm.
And I was reminded by your favorite thing from Castlevania with one of the lines that the troll says. So they say something like this. It says, things with the reindeer that's a little outside of nature's laws, referring to Kristoff's relationship with the reindeer.
Goat fucking!
I don't know if I caught that the first time I saw this movie. I was like, oh my god. So
this is supposed to be a children's movie.
I'm like, yeah, I'm sitting here, I'm like, okay, good job, Disney. You just snuck in bestiality into a kid's movie.
Wow. Oh my god. Astian says, how do we keep getting back to this theme? I don't know.
Exactly.
It's unintentional, I swear. Nobody thought of this when we picked Frozen to be on the list, and I was hoping that Frozen would not win the poll. I'm not gonna lie. The poll, Frozen was chosen. Ooh, that's a rhyme. Frozen was chosen by members of the Unlikely Hero Studios Presents Awesome Comics and Other Cool Shit Too. That group on Facebook. We had a poll and they picked that. So
yeah,
I was kind of hoping that one wouldn't win, but what are you gonna do?
But it was the easiest movie out of the whole list to do an episode about, though.
Oh yeah, to shit on it, yeah. Because like I know we're supposed to be critically affectionate, but I'm not that affectionate for Frozen. Like like I said, it's beautiful, but and I think you said that like Brave was all but forgotten in the wake of Frozen. You know, after, like nobody remembers Brave because of Frozen, and I think that's it. Is because Elsa and Anna even are so much more presented as like just naturally gorgeous, and they're wearing, you know, they have makeup on, and Merida has nothing. Like they are just pretty, and that's what we still in our culture we still have very it's very strong, like you have to be pretty or you're not valuable, which is awful. It's an awful message.
And that's what I just didn't get, why Brave was one of the first movies that broke that Disney cookie cutter kind of movie that we're so used to
Mhm.
seeing. And again, it just like quietly went away and nobody really talks about it anymore. But yeah,
Mhm.
with Frozen, because it was, I don't know, aesthetically pleasing, and you have these really pretty princesses and you have the sidekick, you have again that standard Disney formula. Whether you want to say that they broke a mold by not having the princess fall in love with the prince,
Mhm.
that aside, it was still a typical
Any
Disney
mold that
movie,
they
though.
broke. Yeah.
And like I didn't see how there was that groundbreaking, compared to Brave.
Mhm.
And I agree with you with Tangled, because I was hesitant to see that movie because I thought the same thing. It was like, ah, it's another Disney princess movie, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But my husband actually said, "No, it's actually pretty good. You should watch it." So I did, and yeah, I was pleasantly surprised by it. I thought that was also like a really good movie with a good message too. But
They're
again,
both much miles and miles better than Frozen, and yet somehow Frozen's the one that everybody loves.
yeah,
It's
exactly.
right.
Yeah, but
Um, let's see. Yeah, I
mm,
have several parts in my notes here about why did they make Hans a bad guy. Like, there's just so many. He was just. It was terrible. It was like they showed the movie to an executive where Wesselton was the only bad guy throughout the whole movie, and then Hans. They were just like, no, Hans, Elsa or Anna should end up with Kristoff because look at how much chemistry they have together. Instead of just, God forbid, Anna and Kristoff just be friends. Like, we can't have that. No, fuck no. They have to be romantically involved.
yeah,
So they just were like, okay, how do we fix this so that the boss man is happy? And they just were like, okay, let's rewrite this so that Hans suddenly becomes a bad guy. Like, it's so fucking stupid. Like, he would have had so much power, and like, he would have had plenty of power if he would have married Anna and moved to Arendelle. He would have been the highest ranking male there.
yeah,
He would have had a ton of control. So it was stupid. If everything that if all he was power hungry, he still should have married Anna, and he would have had plenty of power. It was just such a stupid thing to throw him in as a bad guy. He was 100% good. Like, I was scrutinizing as I was watching this past time, that he, like, when did he first appear to be bad? Like, did he, when Anna turned away, did he make a snide, like, evil face where he's like grinning evilly? Did he smirk funny? Did he say something when he was alone? Like, no, he did nothing. He was 100% a good guy right up until he's about to kiss Anna to unfreeze her heart, and he's like, nah, I don't think I'm gonna. I don't love you. I don't care about you. And then
well,
he's
they wanted they wanted they wanted that shock factor from the audience, I guess. Like, oh, holy shit. And
yeah. It didn't land for me at all, though. Like,
mm,
I've only seen the movie a few times, but like, the only reason I've seen it more than twice is because I watched it the one time, and then I watched it this time for this episode, and then I had to watch it a few more times because I babysat. So, like, I had no interest in ever watching this movie again after the first time. And yeah, I just like, I get the shock factor thing. Maybe they were trying to pull an M Night Shyamalama Ding Dong. I don't know, but it didn't land with me. It didn't work for me at all.
my bigger problem with Hans is there was no real punishment for him. He got punched in the face and sent back to the Southern Isles. Like,
Yeah, and they were like, "And we're gonna tell his brothers what he's been doing." Yeah, what are they gonna do to him? Nothing. He
like,
should
yeah,
have been thrown in jail
yeah,
in
ex-
Arendelle. Yeah,
exactly. But I'm like, okay, so there's no consequence for being a dickhole, apparently. So that's a good
yeah.
lesson
I mean,
too.
he tried to kill the queen, and he tried to kill the crown princess, and people fucking witnessed him try to kill both of them. He should be in an Arendelle prison
Yeah,
forever.
exactly.
Yeah,
That was
no, he
my
should not have been sent home. That was dumb.
no, that was my what
And
the fuck moment.
and the Duke of Wesselton, there was more than one person that witnessed his thugs try to kill Elsa, and they would have come back and like they would have implicated the thugs, the guards, the Wesselton guards, who then would have rolled on the Duke like that to get out of it. Like they would have been like, nah, we only did what we were told to do by this dude. And they would have thrown him under the bus so fast. And like his was a slap on the wrist, like, oh yeah, we're not gonna trade with your country anymore. Fucking no consequences. Fucking rich people always get away with everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Katie said, I didn't see Frozen until recently, and after all the hype I've heard, I was expecting it to be amazing, and I was very underwhelmed. Yes, exactly. And Katie said, Hans, I'm assuming you mean Hans, would also have had legitimate power if he had married her. That's what I'm saying now. Like, if he had married her, and yeah, and he did when he thinks that he killed Anna, he tells the other people in charge that we got married right before she passed away, and so now I'm the highest ranking royal in Arendelle. So okay, because and like I don't get how he has the authority. He's still a prince at this point, even if he did marry Anna. Let's pretend that he did marry Anna. He'd still be a prince. He would not be king. And he charged Elsa with treason and sentence her to death. Like, does he have that kind of authority? Because I feel like he does not have that kind of authority. I don't think anybody has the authority to charge a king or a queen with treason.
I don't know, because then you're getting into like we'd have to find out the Arendelle like royal whatever. I don't know.
But I feel like that's just a general rules. Like the king back in the day, you know, obviously it's a ceremonial position now to be a king or a queen, but back in the day, if you're applying the real world historical customs of royalty to this country, this fictional country, then the king and the queen, the king specifically was the highest, and he was ordained by God. So if the king was selected personally by God, then who has the right to charge the king with treason? Now, we got the Marie Antoinette, you know, the French Revolution stuff too, where they're like the citizens just overthrow and they go in and they take him and they chop his fucking head off, like, because he's a bad king. I get that. Like, that is different than this whole situation, but I do acknowledge that that's the way to charge a king with treason, so to speak. But in this, like, Hans just has no real authority to charge Elsa with treason. I just don't. And for that matter, why does Anna have the authority to put Hans in charge when she goes off to find Elsa?
Yeah.
When Elsa and Anna were both under 18, like before Elsa got crowned queen, who was taking care of the country? It wasn't Hans.
Mm-hmm.
There was a bunch of officials that were taking care of things. Those are the people that would be in charge, because Elsa was literally had been crowned for a few hours. Those people would be the people that would be in charge when Anna went off to find Elsa, not fucking Hans. He doesn't know anything about Arendelle. And also,
my biggest problem,
Anna does not. Anna's never been out of the palace, right? She's never been off the castle grounds. How the fuck does she think that she has any kind of skill to go out into the wilderness and find her sister?
Well,
like,
let's be honest.
She's got the magic ice powers to kill things that are going to try and kill her. But like, what the fuck does Anna have?
In the real world, Anna would have died of hypothermia before she made it to the fucking castle. So,
oh, absolutely. and she went in her goddamn ball gown. Did you see? Like, she fucking didn't even change into a regular outfit before she did this.
She would have been fucking dead. And yeah, she would have been fucking dead.
When she fell off the horse, like, that was like, you're definitely not surviving this. And then she falls down that hill and into the water. And I'm like, okay, I've fallen into freezing water before. And I can tell you right now that me, as somebody who wasn't pampered and given everything I ever wanted in life from the moment that I was born, I fell into that water, and then I suddenly had the overwhelming urge to never move again. There's no way Anna got up out of there and just marched over to that trading post, which Deus ex trading post much. I mean, she just happened, like she fell into the water, and then suddenly she sees there's a trading post that will have exactly the things that I need to not die right there.
Exactly.
Astian says he was the youngest of 12. After 11 prior siblings, the royal teachers were like, screw it, he's never going to be king, so he got a bad education and his schemes are bound to be a bit lacking. Well, that's fair, but also, I mean, yeah, he actually, I mean, his plan was solid enough, I guess, but I don't understand why there was no indication that he was a bad guy right up until the end. Like, that just, I don't know, it just grinds my gears. I don't know. Oh, let's see. Oh, defense of Elsa. She was 100,000% right to tell Anna, what are you fucking kidding me? When Anna came up and asked her for the blessing of marriage. Like, Anna, you fucking idiot. You've known this guy for like 12 hours. You cannot fucking marry him. Like, Elsa was the one, like, she props to her for being like, are you out of your damn mind?
Exactly.
I mean, seriously, even Anna, being the naive little fool that she was, should have known that like, she was never going to get Elsa's approval for that, because obviously she knows how tightly wound Elsa is, and then she also, like, she thinks that Elsa's going to agree to this. No, hell no.
Well, you know, she's mentally unstable, so.
Oh, and so they open up the gates for the first time in what, 13, 15 years for the coronation, and Anna asked Elsa at the ball, I think she asked her why the gates can't stay open all the time, because they both were like, oh, this is so nice, I wish they could stay open all the time, and then Elsa's like, but they can't, and then Anna's like, why? And it's like, in all that time between when they closed the doors and this coronation, nobody thought that maybe you should come up with a good alternative idea, like a good lie about why the castle grounds have to be closed off.
Yeah.
Nobody thought of that ever, because like Anna should never have. She should have known whatever reason, you know, true or false reason, but she didn't. She doesn't know why. She's no fucking, and like, they didn't come up with any kind of good lie to tell Anna about why Elsa has to be locked up and why they couldn't be friends anymore too, because she told Hans that too. She's like, oh, we used to be great friends, and now I don't know why we stopped being friends, but like, why don't you know that? There should have been, somebody should have come up with something. You had fucking 15 years to do so. Come on.
Yeah, like, there's no, like you kind of said it earlier, I want to know who the hell was running the fucking castle during all this time after the parents died. There were no like royal advisors or you know, a priest or like anybody. Like, who was taking care of like the royal family finances? Who was like, you know,
I mean, there
dealing
was
with the peasants, you know, like it doesn't make sense.
when the parents died, there was no power vacuum.
Yeah.
They were just like, oh, she's definitely we're just going to take care of things until Elsa can be crowned queen, and then Elsa will be in charge. Like, there was no struggle at all. So obviously this shit was in place. So what the fuck?
It wasn't the goddamn servants running the country, that's for sure. Like, that bothered me. Even if it was like something stupid in like, you know, a fucking 20-second explanation, like, I don't know, Anna and Elsa's fucking second cousin twice removed came in and ran the, you know, place for them while she grew, like something.
Yeah, even if it seems like it's a stupid, offhanded piece of information that wasn't necessary, it's when you start dissecting the movie like this that you realize, oh, that's why that was mentioned. And then you don't wonder. And that information would have been there as soon as you heard it, and therefore you would never have had questions about it. Like, that's what discerns bad writing from good writing.
Yeah.
And Hans, again, like, I have so many notes in here about like, why is Hans suddenly a bad guy? It just doesn't make any sense that Kristoff would end up with Anna. Like, if anything, Kristoff was obsessed with ice. He should have ended up with Elsa, right?
No, apparently he should have ended up with his reindeer.
Well, that too. Yeah. I mean, the only one who loves ice as much as him is probably that reindeer. It's like Elsa never said she loved the ice; she just could control it.
Can we talk about climate change concerns too? Because when Elsa had that like freak out and like created that, whatever
Winter or whatever.
fucking, yeah, Game of Thrones, like the longest winter ever. Like crops would have died, livestock would have died. There was no repercussions for destroying your agriculture and all of that shit.
Even though it was only frozen for a couple of days, just the one freeze, like that's enough. One kind of chilly night is enough to kill a ton of garden plants. So, at the end of the movie when Elsa unfreezes everything, the ice just melts off of these. They look like crocuses, but it doesn't matter. They're flowers in a window box on somebody's house, and the flowers are just perfect. And I was like, what the fuck? She didn't have the power to make flowers alive. She only has the power with ice.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Apparently, she has the power to make fabric out of ice, but she doesn't have the power to make the flowers come back alive. What the fuck?
That's what I want to know. Maybe it's in the sequel more, but I want to know what the limit of her powers is. What can she do? What can she manipulate? What can she, that's what I'm.
And I think to an extent, the sequel does actually explain some of that stuff. So, I mean, like, I wouldn't say go out and watch it right now, but like, if you're bored someday and you got nothing better to do, maybe then watch it. But yeah, like, don't spend time that you need for other stuff on it. Because it's a thing. But she even with the second movie in mind, like, she doesn't have the power to bring back flowers and plants and shit to life. I can see maybe most of the livestock surviving that, since it was such a short period of time. That the place was actually frozen, but like one moment of hard freeze is all it takes to kill a plant. So it's to kill a plant that isn't equipped for that. Like a tree isn't going to die from that, but well, some trees would. But like a pine tree is not going to die from that. But corn, tomatoes, like those are all dead. They're dead, and it was the middle of summer, so they weren't ready to be harvested.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you probably. Like, you could have killed some of your own people. I mean, you can't fucking do that shit, No. And I was pissed at how quickly her people just like fucking turned around and thought she was like the hottest shit ever. Like when, a couple of days ago they were like scared shitless of her. And then all of a sudden at the end of the movie, oh la la la, she's great. She's fantastic.
Like they literally were screaming monster. Now, granted, Wesselton did instigate the monster screaming.
He did.
But when Elsa first froze the fountain out in the big courtyard there, and everybody's like, ah! And then he's like, monster, she's a monster. And then she runs, and they're like, they're terrified of her. And then all of a sudden it's fine at the end. And for that matter, before any of this happens, like when everybody's arriving for Coronation Day, these people are talking about, oh, the princess is going to be crowned queen today. And like, they love her. Like, they seem to be very affectionate towards her. It's like, the doors have been shut for years. And this is a private family of royals who have lots of money and everything they could ever want. And you guys like them?
Yeah, I would have fucking packed up my shit and, fuck.
That didn't happen. If they were still there, that's fine. But like, they did not like her. They did not like the king and the queen before her. They do not like Anna. Like, they might come to like Anna if Anna's allowed to be out and be friendly like she was when she went out. But they do not like Elsa. Why is everybody so loyal to Elsa? They have they didn't even know what she looked like before that.
Yeah.
They had no reason to have any loyalty to her. Katie said they should have told her she was a werewolf or something. Like, if Anna would have thought that Elsa was a werewolf, that would have made more sense than telling her nothing at all, wouldn't it have?
Well, then maybe Kristoff would have been attracted to her, so you gotta be careful.
maybe. And then it would have ended more the way that it should have, with the guy who likes ice being with the lady who can make ice. I don't know. If she was a werewolf, but then if she was a werewolf, would she have been able to make ice? Like, she's an ice wolf?
I want to be an ice werewolf. That's fucking
Sounds,
awesome.
that sounds nice. That sounds fun.
That sounds cool.
There's a regular werewolf I'd be cool with because imagine the shit you could do.
Oh, dude, that's like my like one of my fantasies. Like out of all the like the night creatures and monsters and stuff, I'd want to be a werewolf, hands down, no questions.
I never. I don't think I've put enough thought into it. I will put more thought into it, and then I'll get back to you on what mythical creature I would like to be. Probably just your standard sorcerer, though.
Okay, I could, yeah, that's cool.
Oh, the small nitpick in the grand scheme of things, but the argument between Elsa and Anna at the ball right in front of everybody was so something that Anna knew better than to do. Like she might have been raised in a lonely, solitary situation, but she was absolutely raised with the manners of an upper class citizen. She knew better than to start a freaking fight with her sister, the queen, in the middle of this big grand ball. And I don't like, I wrote this in the same paragraph and it doesn't really belong there, but whatever. Anna should have been made aware of the magic. And I know we talked about this a little bit earlier. Like, even if they did that stupid thing that they like to do in those movies where they say, we won't tell her until she's 16. Like, if they would have told Anna after the king and queen died that Elsa has these powers, because that would be when she would be we need to know the very most. Like, she absolutely should have known about it at least a day before this fucking ball, though, right? Because Elsa was well aware that there was a strong possibility that something was going to happen and her power was going to be revealed. So Anna should have known about that so that she knew not to start a fight with her. She knew not to antagonize her, agitate her. I mean, the whole thing was just a ticking time bomb.
Definitely.
And like, I also don't get, like, she was born with these powers. There are magical trolls that can turn into rocks. There's all this shit that sort of, like, there's stuff that alludes to magic, and then there's the stuff that, like, just absolutely smacks with magic. First of all, why the hell was nobody born with any powers? Which they do, again, kind of fix in Frozen 2, but, like, it should have been that way in Frozen 1. We shouldn't have to be asking this question. But why did the country immediately jump to Elsa's a monster when they had all this other stuff that was kind of magical around them? That would have been shocking, but really? Is she a monster for that?
Mm-hmm.
Seems like a little bit of a leap, you know?
Yeah. No, I agree. It's just the trolls were fucking stupid, in my opinion, too. I don't know. I don't think they needed.
The trolls were. I guess the trolls to be the ones that help them fix Anna's frozen head, which, I'm sorry, but if your heart stops, you can still live. Like, they can keep you alive on machines. Like, they stop your heart when they do bypass surgery, like, and replace your heart. Like, people can get new hearts. You can live for a while without your heart. You freeze your brain, you're dead. That was it. You're done. Like, if your brain is dead, you're done. So why say freezing your head is easily fixed, but freezing your heart is not? I mean, just from a scientific standpoint, that doesn't make sense. Why can't these be scientifically accurate with their magic and rock trolls and stuff?
Because they wouldn't sell any toys then.
I wrote that Hans had the power to organize the whole party of people to accompany Anna, not wait until Anna got fucking lost and her horse came back without her. They shouldn't, like, who lets a princess who's been locked up in a castle for her entire life go out alone in her ball gown and just a stupid little cape? Like, what? And why? And again, why was he put in charge? Why did any of the officials who were taking care of the palace in the country before Elsa was crowned allow Hans to be in charge? Stupid. Like, Hans should have accompanied Anna immediately, but then Kristoff wouldn't have been necessary, right?
See, that would have been a lot easier too, because, like, if he would have gone with Anna, I mean, he could have just whoops! Oh shit! She fell off a cliff.
If that's what he was after, yeah. Just because, like, Anna put him in charge. She said, until I come back, Hans is in charge. So if he went off to find her, like, he could have smoked her and Elsa and come back and said, well, Anna left me in charge. I'm sorry, they're both dead. I'm the king now. Like, that would have been.
And you know, with this,
Yes, it was just as good as any other plan he had.
yeah, with this kingdom, if you know nobody's ruling the kingdom for 12 years, I don't think they're going to question this guy just like, hey, I'm the king now, shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
I
fair.
think
That's a good point. Fair. At the party, Elsa figured out, like, she, with the whole fleeing from the party and then going up into the mountains and singing her Let It Go song, like, she, for a brief shining moment in her life, became aware that conceal, don't feel is a terrible idea. But they didn't, like, and it made me think when I was watching that, like, she built her big castle around her and she magicked herself some clothes, a nicer, fancier, icier dress, and she didn't need, like, winter gear to survive up there. She wasn't like Anna, who was gonna die without it. So why didn't they build her, like, go out a couple of miles out of the town into the countryside and let Elsa build herself a little ice arena to practice where she couldn't hurt anybody? Wouldn't that have been better than leaving her in the castle in that room where she could have accidentally killed any number of people? Again, like, back to leaving her with the trolls. Like, if she would have accidentally hit one of those trolls, they're fucking rocks. That she wouldn't have killed them. They would have been fine.
Yeah.
Stupid.
That just goes back to bad parenting. I don't know.
Yeah, bad parenting. Yes, bad parenting, bad writing. Ugh.
Child abuse, yay.
Yeah, just like, yeah, they should have just, like, she obviously she has the power to build entire castles and make clothes and make snow come alive. And like, if she just would have been left to work it out without in a place where she wouldn't hurt anybody, she would have been so much less anxious and so much more in control.
Yeah, exactly.
And she would have been, it would have been fine. I'm like, I always, we get going on our tirades as our lanes of thinking, and then I, like, where the fuck was I in my lore? Yeah. And like, Anna meets Hans, and then she's like, first dude I've seen outside of the castle that's not related to me. I love him. And then she meets Kristoff and she's like, second dude, I love him too. She sucks at men. She sucks at she's like a very bad judge of character for at the very least. Very bad judge of character. And she has no ability to judge nonverbal cues either, because Kristoff tells her to shut up when the wolves are coming, and, like, he becomes very serious very quickly, and she's all like, no, I'm not done yet. And same thing with Elsa. She sees Elsa getting agitated, not once, but twice. First at the ball and then at the ice castle. And she knows at the ice castle, she even knows what's going to happen if she agitates her too much. And she doesn't do it. Like, Anna has just no social skills at all. And I don't understand why, because she should have had, like, tutors and she would have interacted with the servants and her parents. But also, I get it, but also I don't get it, you know?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? She should have had some ability to read nonverbal cues.
I don't know.
When Kristoff was like, shut up. There's wolves, shut up.
I don't know if anybody was taking care of her at all. She was
no, the fucking paintings, her friends, the paintings.
Oh, yeah, the paintings were taking care of her. Yeah, that's right. And then, like, some servant would just, like, randomly throw, like, bread and water at her face, like, every
time. Or maybe they left food in the kitchen and she just had to go to the kitchen and figure it out herself.
Yeah.
Oh, how about when Kristoff goes and, like, yells at the storekeeper for saying that the stuff was too expensive, and the storekeeper tries to explain why. I was like, you don't have to explain shit to him. It's your shit. He pays what you say. You don't get to decide what the cost of the shit is, you dick. Kristoff is a dick. like he's kind of like, he's not a bad person, but like his attitude, he's kind of an asshole through the whole thing, right up until the very end. He's kind of an asshole, and I'm just like, and Anna ends up with this guy, whereas again, Hans was the picture of being like, he was so attentive and he was so caring for the whole country after it froze. You know, he was passing out blankets, like no indication that he was a bad person until the last couple of minutes of the movie. It's just, why? I don't get it. And yeah, I wrote love my savior complex. Like, anybody who rescues Anna is going to get her eternal love, right? Because Hans was rescuing her from the loneliness, and then Kristoff rescued her from several things, actually. I wrote even Kristoff, who had literally just met Anna a few minutes before he said this, even he was smart enough to know that saying yes to a marriage proposal after knowing the person for a few hours is really fucking stupid.
Right.
And also that she hired Kristoff without knowing jack shit about him. He was just like, yeah, the snowstorm is originating at the North Mountain. And she was like, oh, cool, this guy knows his stuff. I want him to take me up the mountain. But you didn't know that he knew that. Like, anybody who knows how to lick their finger and stick it into the wind to see where the wind's coming from, like, anybody who can do that knows where the storm was coming from. Astian said they should have named her Karen. Anna or Elsa? Both, really. They should have been Karen 1 and Karen 2, shouldn't they have? I feel bad for like the people who are named Karen that don't suck.
Yeah, I have a coworker of mine. She was actually in my wedding. She was one of my bridesmaids.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, her name is Karen, but she is like, she reminds me of you, honestly. Like, she has no filter, you know. But she's not like a Karen, you know. Yeah. Like, whatever. Like, she's a really cool person. But yeah, we fuck with her all the time at work, and you know.
Don't be such a Karen.
Yeah, exactly.
I hope I'm not a Karen. I mean, nah. I've never called the cops on anybody, so certainly not for just like having a barbecue or walking down the street or anything like that. I've never done that. Oh, let's see. Oh, the number of things that Anna does after leaving the castle. She's never been out of this castle in her entire life. And she thinks that she can defeat the wolves. She thinks she can climb a fucking rock wall. She thinks she can defeat the snow monster. Why do you think you can do these things? You have had zero experience doing any of that stuff, but you think that you can do all of it now?
Yeah.
I mean, how many situations was she extremely lucky that Kristoff was there and wasn't a psychopath that she hired because she didn't know shit about him?
Well, he is into bestiality, so
yeah. It was as they were talking after the wolf thing, I think, like, he is clearly as emotionally stunted as Anna and Elsa are, they just in a different way, and that's why he's in love with his reindeer, I guess. I mean, he has conversations with the reindeer in which he is also the reindeer, like he speaks for the reindeer.
Yeah.
He's weird. I mean, maybe that's a more concerning psychological disorder. I don't know.
Say this whole movie is like about dealing with traumas and mental illness, and
Elsa has PTSD easily.
Yeah. The moral of the story really is get therapy. That's what this movie is.
And there's one point I wrote that is a really pretty movie. The part where they are walking, they've lost their carriage, and I think it's right before they meet Olaf, and they're going through those trees that have the little ice crystals stuck to the dangly bits.
Yeah.
Those willows, I don't know, but it's like it's very pretty. It's a very pretty movie. I would feel like I was in a magical place too if I was walking through something like that. So, despite the fact that I absolutely hate the cold and I never would be out there, I would never have chosen to go out there because I hate being cold. Oh shit. They never explained. There was no explanation for how Elsa could bring things to life in the movie either.
Mm-mm.
She brings to life Olaf and the big snow monster Marshmallow.
Yeah.
And there was like, why? How? What?
Yeah, exactly. That's
All we knew up until this point was that she could, up until we meet Olaf, all we knew was that she could manipulate the snow and ice. And suddenly she can make shit come alive too, which they do explain in Frozen 2. However, Frozen 2 was not a thing at all. Like they did. I'm sure that somebody was thinking about sequel potential
yeah.
before the movie was released, but like no, they didn't have any of this information. And it would have been stuff that you should have stuck into Frozen 1. That's how I know that none of this stuff was fleshed out beforehand. It's just,
Right.
ugh. Let's see. I mean, it was just, yeah. Yeah, Olaf's song was pointless. They show Hans handing out the blankets to the townsfolk, which again, he's not being a bad person at all. Why is he suddenly a bad guy? And why the fuck didn't Hans offer to go get Elsa if he wanted to kill her? He could have killed her without witnesses, married Anna, been the king. Would have been super easy to kill Anna after they got married. And then he would be like, his plan was very flawed. Like, it was an okay plan, I guess, but it was very flawed. Like he didn't think it through. He just didn't think it through. And then Anna never would have met Kristoff too, but like whether or not he had any actual feelings for Anna, he should have known better than to let her go off on her own because she had no life skills, and he was well aware of that.
Mm-hmm.
So, when they find the ice palace, when Kristoff and Anna and Sven and Olaf, yeah, that was all of them, right? They find the ice palace, and Sven the reindeer tries to walk up the steps, and he starts slipping and can't go up the steps. Don't reindeer have like special feet that helps them not slip? Why is he slipping? Shouldn't he be able to walk? And how come the people and Olaf, whose feet are like that big, like he can walk up the stairs, but the reindeer can't?
I don't know.
It seemed weird.
According to Santa Claus, he should have no problem with doing anything like that.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. When they arrive at the castle doors, the ice castle doors, Anna knocks and the doors immediately open, even though nobody opened them. And that is a cliche that we saw in Castlevania. The door just magically opened, though nobody opened it. It's like, but I mean, Anna didn't bang on it with the butt of her knife, so there's that. When Anna and Elsa are talking in the castle, they slip into iambic pentameter. Did you notice that? Like they're kind of sing-songy, but not really.
Yeah,
like they're singing, but they're not singing. Yeah, that was fun, right? And I don't understand Elsa's self-exile decision. Like there wasn't a lot of thought put into it. Because I know she said the cold doesn't bother her, but like she eventually has to eat, right? Can she make food out of ice too?
I had that thought too, because honestly, the castle itself is on the outside, it's very pretty, but when they go inside, it's very bare. There's like very little furniture. There's
obviously cold looking. Like they make it look cold. Yeah, no furniture, no beds. Where's she gonna sleep? I assume she has to sleep as well as eat. She has to pee and poop, right? Like, where is she gonna do all these things? There's no bathrooms in that castle.
No.
And it's clear too. Like you can see through it everywhere.
You can see the poop. But
I guess in her defense, she was up on the top of that mountain, so there probably wasn't gonna be a lot of people to look at her.
He's like sliding down like into the frozen like tundra. I just gave myself
She wouldn't need any like actual proper plumbing in that castle though, because the mountain dropped off hundreds of feet, probably thousands. She could have just made it go out the back and then just down the mountain, and then some poor unsuspecting shithead would literally be a shithead.
Shit off the side of a balcony. Oh my god.
Maybe that's why she didn't have any bathrooms, because there was no need for it, because she could get rid of it for so easily. Astian said there wasn't a lot of thought put into it, quoting me on Disney's Frozen. Well, yeah, and you can quote me.
Oh man.
Oh shit. Yeah, this is and like Elsa with her self exile is like she's like, this is why you don't want to teach a kid that the best way to handle something stressful is to conceal, don't feel. And then when they have their conversation in iambic pentameter, like Elsa was so relaxed, and then she the moment that Anna confronts her with the fact that everything's frozen and she needs to come home, Anna's like immediately agitated again, and she's like, don't feel. And then she has that explosion where her power, she shoots it out of her fingers and it goes in like a big circle. And of course, she shoots Anna in the heart, which is where we learned at the beginning, that's bad. And what are the chances? I don't know. This is stupid. And she loves Anna, so I would think that she would be able to control it enough to not kill her, especially after being well aware of what happened when they were little kids. The whole reason why Anna didn't know about the powers. It just, I don't know.
Yeah.
Katie said, don't eat the yellow snow near the castle. And Askian says, thinking a lot about where Elsa would do her bathroom business in the concept of let it go is too funny. Oh my god. Is that what the song is really about? She can't hold it back anymore.
Let it go. God.
Oh no, that song's never gonna sound. Actually, I might like it again. Who knows? Like, now if I think about it in that context, maybe I'll enjoy the song again.
Yeah.
So Elsa just learned that she could make the living snow creatures too at this point that she makes the monster to kick them out of the castle, and which, by the way, is a very big, scary, powerful monster that's very antagonistic towards Kristoff and Anna and could very well kill this person that Elsa claims to love. Why would she make a monster that would do that? Like, is it just like her feelings she puts into them? Did she want to kill Anna?
Yeah, it's probably some BS.
Yeah, seems stupid.
Of,
I mean, to be fair, it looked like the monster was just going to pick them up and toss them out of the castle. But then Anna got mad and threw the snowball at him, and then he's like, "Rawr, I'm going to kill you now." And I was like, it doesn't make sense. They just needed another stressful situation to happen to them, I guess, which it didn't need, because Anna's heart had just been frozen and they needed to get her back to, help her. When they're running away from the snow monster, they wrap the rope around just their waist, nothing else, just their waist. And then they jump off the side of a cliff that Kristoff himself says is a 200-foot drop.
Yeah.
And the rope around their waist stops them really short. Internal bleeding. You did not survive that. You got broken in half.
Yeah.
Don't teach children that it's okay to do that shit, because they're going to go try it and they're going to get snapped in half like a fucking twig.
Jeez.
It's bad. Bad news bears. Let's see. I think that there's a lot. And the snow monster pulled them back up after they had jumped. Pulled them all the way back up the cliff and was like, "Don't come back!" And then threw them back off the cliff. It was like, it was obviously done just for the laughs.
Yeah.
Which, speaking of laughs, I wrote that Olaf is okay as comic relief. I'm sure kids thought he was hilarious, and I know this movie is for kids, which is why it's popular. I don't think that adults think that it's as good of a movie as kids do. And why would Kristoff, I wrote this one too, this is like all my little notes, like, why would Kristoff still be in the ice business if he was raised by the rock trolls? Like, he fucked off to the rock trolls, the Icemen didn't know he was gone, so did he go back to the ice people? Like, what? Why is he still in the ice business?
He's just an odd character.
And his backstory and stuff is just kind of weird. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. And then and he takes the kids, the love the guy song, the fixer upper song.
Mhm.
What the fuck was that even? Like there was no love interest bullshit happening until they started singing, and then Anna and Elsa are like, ugh, or Anna and Kristoff are like, ugh, this is weird. Why are you doing this? Stupid. And then when the grandpappy says that he tells them what they need to do to save Anna, and he's like, this is a strange magic, but yet you know exactly how to fix it, so it's really not that strange to you, is it, buddy? And true love is the only thing that can fix it, an act of true love. But like all that it took to fix it last time when her head got frozen was to remove the memories of magic. There's just not a lot of congruity with the medical treatment here. Magical medical treatment. Oh shit. And then yeah. Can't the guards, when the guards and Hans go up to see the snowman, they they try and kill the snow monster with swords. Like you can't kill a monster with swords.
I guess they didn't have any flamethrowers.
I have still a handful of shit, and I just feel like because we are kind of like we went over 7 minutes here, so we should probably wrap it up. I am going to quickly spin through here and see if there's any really big stuff. Oh, why is Olaf's willingness to melt and die so that Anna wouldn't be alone considered a good enough act of love to save Anna?
That's a good point.
Yeah, I just thought like, and the whole royal guard would have seen Hans try to kill Elsa, and he like if he would have succeeded, they would have seen all of that.
Yeah.
Anna sucks at punching, among other things. She like punches and then immediately draws her hand back. It's like, nah. Anybody who teaches you to punch would say follow through, like punch through him. Don't punch him in the face. Punch through his face. Am I wrong? I'm not. Let's see. Oh yeah, and then down at the bottom here, we said this before. I was like, oh, suddenly the people are totally cool with the ice powers, and then more than that, they love it. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to point out that there is 12 minutes of credits. 12 minutes of credits after this movie.
Really? I didn't even sit through like all.
I didn't sit through it. I actually like used the scrub bar to find out how many, because I was like, that even for a shitty animation, that is how much work and how many people and how many companies go into the making of an animation, because it's a lot of work. Yeah. And Marvel movies, even though they're technically live action, are the same way. There's so much CGI in them now that there's just tons of stuff that they need. They have so many people working on them. It goes so far beyond just the people who act in them, which I didn't even mention the people who act in this movie, because they just are voices. They aren't acting, they're voice acting, which is important, but it's not the same. You're in front of cameras, but you're not going to be on camera for the movie, so it's a little different. It's different. But it was Idina Menzel's Elsa, and Kristen Bell is Anna, and Josh Gad is Olaf, and I forget who Kristoff is, but he's a stupid character, so I don't care. And I actually was watching a Jack Whitehall comedy thing, and he said he was actually in Frozen. He played one of the trolls who had one line, and I was like, okay. And then you go and watch the cast credits, and he's not even fucking listed. He's uncredited. I was like, poor guy, but I hope he at least got paid.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Oh, question for the couple of people that are still watching, and for you. Do you think Arendelle should have cut off the entire country of Wesselton from trade based on the actions of that one dude?
Oh.
I'm not a politician, but I feel like that was unfair to the people of Wesselton, because they don't really have much control of this one dude.
Yeah. But yeah, you would have to, I don't know, because somebody has to be like in charge, though. I mean, you can't just subsede him and, continue the trade. Like,
Yeah.
there would have to be some kind of diplomatic discussions, going on.
Yeah, I think that just cutting off the whole country was a little bit uh she did it too hastily. I think she's like be like, right, well, we're definitely not going to trade with you for now, but we need to talk this through.
Don't punish the acts of the the advisor or whatever, the person in power, and punish
no, you should punish the guy, the guy that did the thing, not the whole country. Like they didn't give him any consequences, like we said before. He got zero consequences, and then the people of the country of Westleton have to suffer. That's bullshit, right?
Yeah.
Unfair. Yeah, my favorite quote was definitely the chicken with the face of a monkey. I don't get that. And Anna's hair turned back to red after they unfroze her heart. After Elsa unfroze her heart. So yay. But, I guess that's it for me. Yeah, if they would have been raised better, if these two girls would have been raised with parents who were smarter, then this whole crisis in the movie would have been averted. Anna would not have had white streaks in her hair. She would have been less stupid with men, I hope. And yeah, that's Frozen. That's I could continue to go on and on and on and on and on with shitting on Frozen. But I think we have to stop now because eventually we're going to have to sleep. And we have, again, as I said before, we've gone overtime here. So next week, we actually are doing a double shot of Critical Affection. And this time, actually, Lori is going to be joining us. And this is a one-off, so don't get too excited, everybody who watches the show for Lori. This is kind of a one-off. Lori's not going to be doing Critical Affections all the time, but we are going to do that this time because Julie can't join us, and we kind of had a mix-up in our schedule that we had to. We were going to do the Let's Talk About Sex episode with Kasten, but because Kasten had a prior engagement and we had to swap hers, so we're still doing that, but that's happening on August 23rd. And so instead we are flip-flopping, and that's why Julie cannot join us for the next time. And so Lori's gonna do it, and we're gonna shit on the Karate Kid. So that'll be exciting, right? Lori and I spent way too long figuring out which movie we wanted to talk about. And she's like, actually, I really don't. She said the part that I dislike the most is having to decide which movie. So why don't you decide the movie? And I was like, I don't remember any movies ever in my whole life now because you asked me that. So we ended up talking through it, and we settled on the Karate Kid. And she is going to watch it. I'm going to watch it, as I always have, with the underlying assumption that Daniel Russo, right? It's Daniel Russo. That Daniel is the good guy, and Lori is going to watch it with hopefully a fresh thoughts and understandings that Daniel's the bad guy, and we're going to talk about that way. So that should be interesting.
Yes.
And it sucks that you can't join us, Julie, because I know I was thinking about it. I was like, oh, Julie would love this episode too, so we should have her on this one too. But at least you'll get to watch one afterwards, and maybe we can do in a few months. We can do another Karate Kid episode where we all three come together and talk about it. Because, yeah, I didn't think about it when I agreed to Karate Kids, so it wasn't to spite you, because I love you. So Aston says, I barely remember that movie. You barely remember the Karate Kid? Have you not been watching Cobra Kai? You should be rewatching all the Karate Kids. So, okay. That's it. I have not been watching Cobra Kai either, so I'm not. I shouldn't get on your case about not watching Cobra Kai, because I too do not watch Cobra Kai. I'm going to, but I haven't yet. What's that?
I highly recommend it. It's an excellent series.
Excellent. And that's good to hear, and I do hear that from others. So I feel like I'm going into it with a positive spin on it, a positive frame of mind. So I am excited to watch it at some point, but we got to get through all this other shit that we have on our list first. So yeah. Oh, Katie, I don't think I've seen the Karate Kid. How?
How?
You are the same age as we are, about, right? Like, how did you not see the Karate Kid?
Wow. That's
crazy. I insist you watch it immediately, if not sooner. At least watch it before next Monday, because that way, you know what the hell we're talking about if you watch. And I hope you watch. I hope everybody watches. I wish more people would watch, because it would be so fun to listen to everybody's comments about our comments and what they think about the movie we're doing. Like, it would just be fun. More people is, well, what's the phrase? The more the merrier. That's what it is. Like, the more the merrier on this show, on this episode, our critical affection episodes. Okay, I think, did we cover everything? We're good to go. Yes. Have a good night. Thank you for joining us. I have to think about these things, but thank you for joining us. Have a good night. Julie, you have a good night. And I'll talk to you in a month, right? Because it's gonna be a while.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a while before Julie gets to come back now, because I can't get the next, yeah. Sad face. All right. So for reals now, I'm gonna say goodbye, and I mean it this time. So good night, everybody, and we hope you join us next week at the same bat time, same bat channel. Bye.